The Community Garden. Welcome back to the channel. Before we begin tonight's story, do me a favor. Think about the nearest friendly green space near your home. A little park, a neighbor's yard, a small community garden you walk by and never worry about. Now ask yourself, very honestly, do you know what's under it? The first time Darius saw the garden, it looked harmless. Raised beds in straight rows, bright wooden signs with hand-painted names. Okra Lane, Tomato Row, Collard Corner. Aunties in wide hats moved between the beds. Somebody played old R&B low on a Bluetooth speaker. Children dragged hoses and watered the dirt like it was a game. The garden sat 3 blocks from his apartment in southwest Atlanta. He passed it every morning on his walk to the bus. He worked IT at a hospital, 10 hours a day under white lights and dry air. The garden looked like something his body had been asking for. Darius was 34. No kids, no car, rent going up. His doctor told him he needed more. Fresh food and sunlight. So when his upstairs neighbor said, "My auntie runs that garden, I can get you a plot," he said yes. He thought he was signing up to grow a few plants. He did not ask what the plants would be growing in. The manager was a short woman in her 60s. Silver twists, sun visor, strong arms. "I'm Gloria," she said. "You must be Darius." "Yes, ma'am. We're happy to have you," she said. "Out here we don't waste a thing. Remember that?" She led him along the path. Everyone here was like him. Retired teachers, church folks, a couple of young couples, kids in plastic sandals. People nodded and said welcome. They looked tired but proud. They talked about recipes more than they talked about politics. Gloria stopped at a long raised bed near the back fence. "This is plot 27, she said. "Yours." The boards were newer than the others. The soil inside was dark and smooth. No weeds. She handed him a folded piece of paper. "Garden rules," she said. "No outside dirt, no chemicals. Don't dig deeper than the frame. We keep the system closed. That's how it stays strong." He nodded. Put the paper in his pocket. He didn't open it. On Saturday, he came back with cheap starter plants. Tomatoes, hot peppers, collards, because his father loved collards. He pushed his hand into the soil. It surprised him. Warm, softer than it looked. Not wet, not dry. Something in between. The dirt clung to his skin. He saw thin white strands mixed in. Not from his tiny plants. Older threads, tangled all through the bed. Some clumped together like hair that had been pulled from a brush and buried. He wiped his hand on his jeans. "Nice, isn't it?" a voice said. Darius turned. A man about 50 stood there, gray in his beard, smudges of dirt on his forearms. "I'm Jerome," he said. "Got the bed next to yours." "I'm Darius." Jerome nodded at plot 27. "That one's been fed right," he said. "Once you plant in it, everything hooks up. Roots, fungi, whole place is connected under the boards, like one big body." The word settled in the air. Body. Jerome went back to his own bed. Darius told himself it was just good compost. Community gardens bragged about that kind of thing. He planted. He watered. He went home. That night, his fingers still felt warm. 2 weeks later, his plot looked unreal. Tomato plants already heavy with green fruit. Pepper plants loaded with small bright bulbs. Collards wide and dark, like the photos on seed packets. People slowed down when they walked past. "What are you feeding those?" an older man asked. "Just water," Darius said. "Whatever's already in the ground." The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Some beds are special," he said. "Yours is one of them." That was the first day he really noticed the smell. The garden always smelled like dirt and plants. Now there was something under that. Sweet, heavy, like the air in a hospital room right after a body's taken away and nobody has opened a window yet. When the wind changed, it moved across his tongue. He tasted it all the way home. At his kitchen table, he remembered the folded paper. He opened it. No pesticides. No outside soil. No digging deeper than 8 inches. Share water. Share tools. Share harvest. At the bottom, in small letters, participation in garden body program with greenback transitions is included for all members. No more details, no explanation. He kept reading the same line. Garden body. He folded the paper again. His hands were damp. The tooth came up 3 days later. He was loosening the soil near a pepper plant. His small trowel hit something hard with a sharp scrape. He dropped the tool and dug with his fingers. A molar came out of the dirt. Big, human. A gold crown along one side. It lay in his palm, still a little wet. For a few seconds, he could not hear anything else. The garden faded. The kids' voices, the music, even the wind. Just his heartbeat in his throat. Then somebody laughed near the compost pile. A hose hissed. Life came back. He closed his hand around the tooth. Nobody was looking at him. He put it back into the hole, covered it, smoothed the soil until it looked untouched. The dirt was warmer than the air again. On his way out, near the shed, his foot hit a piece of wood. He bent and picked it up. It was an old sign, white paint almost gone. Only a few letters still showed. Irved, G.B. Prague. He dropped it. He stayed away from the garden. From his window, he watched other people go in and out. They came back holding bags of tomatoes and greens. They smiled. They waved at each other on the sidewalk. A woman wiped tears from her cheeks and laughed at the same time as she clutched a bunch of collards. He told himself he was being dramatic. On the 4th day, a white van parked by the garden's side gate. A green logo was on the door, a leaf growing out of a circle. The words around it said, Greenback Transitions Local Soil, Local Lives. A black woman in a simple black dress stood by the gate, holding a white envelope in both hands. Her eyes were swollen. A teenage boy stood next to her, hugging a cardboard box tight against his chest. Miss Gloria was with them. She rested a hand on the woman's arm. The woman nodded. The boy stared at the ground. A man from the van took the box carefully, like it was heavy but fragile. He turned and set it inside. The door closed. The van drove away. Gloria walked back through the gate. She washed her hands at the spigot. Then she bent over a row of onions like nothing had happened. That night, Darius pulled out a thin folder from the back of his closet. Old papers, hospital bills, funeral receipts. His father's name sat at the top of one sheet. Near the bottom, in gray letters, was a logo he now knew too well. Greenback Transitions. Under it, a line he barely remembered signing. Preparation and integration of remains under cost-reduced package. He read it again and again. The room felt too hot. He set the paper down and turned it face down on the table. He went back to the garden the next morning. The smell met him at the gate. Sweet and thick and quiet. Miss Gloria was checking the beds. She walked like a nurse on rounds. Quick eyes, calm steps. She saw him and smiled. "There you are," she said. "Plot 27 was starting to miss you." He walked to his bed. The plants looked even bigger. Heavy collard leaves brushed his knee. The soil between them was dark, moist, threaded with pale lines. He didn't touch it. "Did you know," he asked, still looking down, "that my father's funeral used that company?" Gloria was quiet for a moment. "We see a lot of the same names on the forms," she said. "Hospital folks, people from this side of town. They sell us simple packages. You know how it is." He did know. He remembered the numbers on the page, the way the cheaper option caught his eye. He waited for her to say it was a mistake, or rare, or not here. She didn't. "You shouldn't have to be rich to stay in the earth when you go," she said at last. Her voice was low, matter of fact. "People around here do what they can. We do what we can. That's all it is." She did not say city. She did not say system. She did not say damage. She only looked at the beds, at his collards, at the soil that seemed to breathe. "If you want to give up your plot," she added, "there's a list. Somebody else will take it." He pictured the white van, the boy with the box, the envelope. He pictured himself standing at a checkout line buying pale greens for $8 a bunch. He pictured his father's name on that paper again. "I'll think about it," he said. Gloria nodded. "Think fast," she said gently. "Plants don't wait." She moved on. He stood there a long time. The white threads in the dirt seemed closer to the surface now, like they were reaching. Harvest day came. Smoke drifted from the grills. Music mixed with chatter. Folding tables lined with foil pans and bowls. Each dish had a small card. Okra, bed 12. Tomato salad, beds 5, 6, 27. Mixed collards, shared beds. People gathered and joined hands. Gloria bowed her head. "Thank you for food," she said. "For land. For all the ones we loved who keep us going still." "Amen," everyone replied. Darius held his empty plate. He waited until the line thinned, then walked to the collard pan. Steam rose. The smell hit him in the chest. Smoke, vinegar, pepper. The same way his father's kitchen used to smell on Sundays. He stared at the spoon, his mouth filled with saliva. His throat tightened. His body wanted two different things at once: to turn away and to eat. He felt people behind him, not pushing him, not judging, just watching. Neighbors, folks who had signed envelopes and nodded through tears and taken their vegetables home. He took a small serving. At the table, Jerome pointed at his plate. "That pan right there," Jerome said. "That's the good stuff. You can taste the history in it." Darius looked around. A woman laughed with her head thrown back. A man wiped his eyes while he ate, but he kept eating. Kids ran between the beds, faces shiny with sweat and sauce. He lifted the fork. His hand shook hard. The greens slid back into the plate. He gripped the fork tighter, scooped again, brought it to his mouth. The first taste was sharp. Salt, smoke, vinegar, bitter edge. It hit his tongue, and for an instant it felt wrong, like chewing something that should not be inside him. His throat closed up. His eyes watered. He thought of his father standing at a stove saying, "Boy, pay attention. This is how you keep people alive when money runs out." He forced himself to chew. Each bite broke down slow. The texture turned soft. The warmth spread along his tongue. His jaw hurt from how tight he held it. When he swallowed, it slid down heavy. He felt the whole path: mouth, throat, chest, all the way to his stomach. It sat there like a stone. He put the fork down. The taste didn't go away. It changed. It became the same taste he had known his whole life. Holiday plates, church potlucks, funeral repasts in hot rooms with bad air conditioning. Food that came from somewhere he never looked too closely at. He took another bite. Slower, it went down easier. Not because he was less scared. Because hunger is patient, and bills are patient, and grief is patient. He finished the plate. He did not ask for more. On the back fence, workers from Greenback were hanging a new wooden sign. "Greenback Community Partner, returning our own to the roots." People gathered under it for photos, holding plates, standing shoulder to shoulder, smiling small, tired smiles. They looked proud. They looked sad. They looked like they had made peace with something they could not change. Next season, Darius kept plot 27. He could have turned in the key. Someone else would have taken it. He came one cool morning with a tray of small plants. Tomatoes, peppers, collards. He knelt. The soil was bare again. Dark, loose, warm against his palm. The pale threads lay just under the surface now, wrapped through the bed like veins. He did not pull his hand away. He dug a hole, set a plant in, pulled the soil around its roots, pressed it down. In the distance, he heard a siren. Closer, he heard a child laugh, a car bus line, the soft scrape of a hoe in another bed. The ground waited. He moved to the next plant. In a city with nowhere left that was truly untouched, Darius did the only thing that still made sense. He stayed where he was. He put his hands in the warm black soil, and he kept planting.
Thank you for listening to The Storyteller's Moon. If this story touched you, scared you, or kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps the stories alive, and I can't wait to share the next one with you under the moonlight. Until then, may your nights be safe and your dreams unforgettable.